Hey, welcome back to another karate video. We're going to continue on with where we left off with the last one, starting to put some of our traditional skills together into some combos and look at some practical applications for those. So before we get started, let's bow in, come to attention, and bow. And let's get our bodies ready, warming up. Just regular old jumping jacks. Hey, Lynn, take a step forward so we're not forward, so we don't smack Caden in the head. And everybody ready? And jump. We go for about a minute. Just keep your body moving. Jumping's not your thing. Run in place, but do something to get that temperature up, to get your muscles warm, get the blood pumping. Don't want to start off with any exercise without doing some gentle warm-up first. Could lead to injury that way. That's not good for being able to keep training for our long term. All right, we got about 10 seconds to go. And stop. Good. Easy circle around with your head. And go the other way around. Good. And arm circles. And backwards. And cross. And up and down. Good. Twist your body. All right, and circle the hips around. And other way. And bring your feet in close, bend your knees. Let's circle around at the knees. Other way. Good. All right. Now, let's get those hip circles, and then let's get into our workout. So we're circling up and around, going outward and inward. Let's go. It's the same motion you'd use for a crescent kick. Inward or outward crescent kicks. One more. And back. Good. Other side. And one more. Good. All right. So now we're going to look at putting some of our traditional technique together in some practical combos. started this the last time, so make sure you go check out that video. We're going to do some different takes on some of that stuff, some different body motion, and look at how that changes the application of the technique. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and stagger here. So Caden's going to step forward and Aylin's going to step back. Okay. So our first step is going to be starting out like we stepped a front stance here. And then I'm going to shift on the balls of my feet into a horse stance, which if you've been with us for a while, you understand that this is a core concept in the relationship between all of the stances, is that front stance is the same width, just with a different rotation as that front stance. So we're going to start that forward step out with front stance, and at the same time, I'm going to prep my down block. Okay, so I step front stance and I prep the down block. Then as I shift my hips, I'm going to bring that down block down, so the block then becomes the strike. Okay, and what's happened in here is as I prep, that is deflecting an incoming attack, and then I finish the strike. Okay, so I'm stepping towards my front stance as I prep the block, and I finish in horse stance with that down block. Okay, so we're going to go starting to our left side. We'll return, and then we'll go starting to our right side on number 2. Stepping and block and come back. And then we'll build in the next few portions of that combo. So you're ready to go? All right, here we go. To our left first. 1. And back. 2. And back. 3. Back. 4. Back. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Back. All right, so let's add a little bit more to that. This time, as I take my step and do my block, then I'm going to use my hips and stance position to turn and put a lot of power into a punch. So I'm stepping off that line, doing my block, which is an attack low to the groin, lower abdomen, and then I shift my hips, turning into my reverse punch. Okay, so let's do that together. Diagonal step, block, turn the hips into that punch. Ready? Here we go. 1 step, block, turn the hips to punch. And 2, block, punch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Back. Now, we'll finish that with our front kick. So I'm going to step, down block, shift the hips for the punch. And in this case, I'm snapping the kick and I'm going to step back into my front stance. So again, I'm stepping horse stance with the block, which is really a strike this time. Turn with the punch, fire the kick, and step all the way back. All right, are you ready? Block, punch, and kick. Returning back to that front stance position with the kick. Here we go. And 1. And back. 2. And back. 3. 4. 5. 6. 6, 7. Oh, I didn't do my kick. 8. 9. And 10. Good. All right. Now, we're leaving our hands out, but you got to remember, I'm saying down block, and I'm implying a strike. That means that when I say punch, I may not be implying a strike at all. That punch may in fact be a grab, holding the person in place to fire my kick. The kick may modify depending upon the situation I find myself in. If they're retreating and I've got a grab on the arm, I can fire that kick. If they're not retreating and I've got a grip on the shoulder, that kick may turn in from a front kick into a knee kick. So when we hold that hand out there, we're reminding ourselves that we might be doing more than just punching and kicking. And so the terminology gives us a frame of reference to practice. Then we can start looking at different ways to understand it. But for more on that, make sure you check out the application video that's going to be coming out after these two. But got to make sure you catch both of the lessons this week so that you'll understand what's going on with that one. So make sure you check that one out. We'll get into more depth with that and how to apply what you're learning in kata to a self-defense situation. Because nothing with technique should be ever considered final at that surface level. Okay, that's the trap of sport application. Okay, so tune in for more on that after this video is aired to catch what's going on with application. Now, let's go on and apply some of the intermediate skills, the X block and elbow. So we could be working with two different elbow strikes here, but let's start, same motion. I'm moving forward at an angle and I'm going to be doing an X block. Okay, so the same idea with that forward step, doing my X block. In this case, my rear hand is going to be the one that's closest to me with this X block, and I'm going to do the block and pull everything down. You see that kind of thing happening a lot in kata where both hands are pulling to the hip. Well, in this case, we're making a block, but it's more of a deflection and trap. So somebody's reaching a hand in, trying to grab. Maybe I'm using that as a way to break their grip after they've got the grab, and I'm pulling and trying to yank them off balance as I pull to that hip. And then you'll see how that's setting up the next technique in just a second. But first, we're going to step, block, pull to the hip, and we turn our body as we do that into that horse stance. Same as that first technique set. Then we move to the other side. Now my opposite foot steps, my right foot. That means my right hand is forward. My left hand is the one closest to me, so it's sitting on top. And then I'm pulling down. Okay? So one side X block, pull down as we twist to horse stance. And then the other side X block, twist to horse stance. You ready? You ready? All right. Ready? Here we go. And 1, block, pull, and back. 2, block, pull, and back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right, now let's start talking about elbows. So far, we've been talking about our elbow strike exclusively as a hooking elbow. I'm coming around with a circular technique. Well, our first elbow in this one is going to be from the back side of the elbow. I've done my block, and I've pulled down to the hip, so I've pulled them into me. I've made a grab as I deflect, pulling them into me, and then I'm going to continue to pull, and then the elbow with my left hand in this case, my lead elbow, is striking straight out up into the ribs or armpit here. So I'm moving off to one side. Here's my right side. I'm coming in, I'm pulling down to off balance them and get their underarm exposed. And then as I'm doing that, I'm striking forward with the backside of the elbow. Okay, so our drill is going to be to step, pull, and elbow. And as I'm pulling down, I'll be extending that elbow out. Okay, so I'm blocking. As I pull down, extend the elbow out, striking into the ribs. All right, so the hip twist and the pull are going to happen at the same time as that elbow. Let's give that a try. If you need to break it down, block, pull, and then elbow, go ahead and do that. But we want to work towards some of that simultaneous motion. Let's give that a try with a 10 count. Here we go. And 1, block, pull, and elbow. 2, block, pull, elbow. 3, more together. 4, just try to put it together as best you can. 5, block and strike. 6, block and strike. 7, 8. You need to break it down. Break it down. Don't try to go super fast. Just break it down into the individual parts, okay? Nothing wrong with that, especially because you're at Orange Belt and you're trying to learn it, okay? So break it down, individual pieces, okay? All right, let's finish up these last two, 9 and 10, good and strong. Ready? And 9, block. And if you need to, you're pulling down and then elbow. Last one, 10, block. Pulling and striking. Okay, now we're going to add that last elbow. So you've got a whole nother 10 count to work on getting the block, pulling down with this elbow, because now we're going to do a hooking elbow. All right, so my first strike, as I pull down here, is striking straight outward under the arm. Then I'm going to pull this arm back, striking over the top, striking the side of the head. Okay, now that elbow also could, with the arm changed just a little bit, be striking under and then striking straight forward through their locked out elbow. Hyperextend the elbow. We say break the elbow, but the elbow is a joint. You don't exactly break it, but we can hyperextend it. We can do some joint damage there, but there's not a bone to break in that. Okay, so let's step this through together. We step, we block, we're pulling down. As we pull down, we're doing the elbow. Then we're pulling back and elbow over the top. Yes. Now let's step it through the other side together. We're going to step and block, and I pull it down. And as I pull it down, my arms are going opposite directions to fire that first elbow. Pull it back and elbow, hooking elbow across. Remembering that that first strike is coming in here, and the second one is either going to go here or here. Okay? So let's do both elbows, and then we'll transition on into our last set, which we're going to do all together right off the bat. So block, pull to the first elbow, come around to hook the second elbow. All right, break it down if you need to. As you're going through this, start to work on that fluidity. Ready? And 1, block, pull and elbow, back and second elbow, and return. 2, block, pull to the elbow, strike across with the next elbow, and recover. 3, block, pull an elbow, second elbow, and come back up. 4, block, pull to the elbow, fire the second one. 5, block, elbow, elbow. 6, block, elbow, elbow. 7, block, elbow, elbow. 8, block, elbow, elbow. All right, your best technique here. However slow you need to go to do it well, that's what you're doing. Working on fluidity, but just remember, you may have limitations like, oh, this is the first time I've seen it. And you shouldn't try to go any faster than what your ability level is right now. So finish out strong. And 9. And 10. And back. All right. So let's do that last one. We're going to be, again, stepping forward. All of these are closing distance. Okay, I'm moving in and I'm coming off the angle with these deflections, with these blocks, and I'm moving close to my opponent to attack them. Okay, so this one is also going to be moving close, but where the other ones are working on moving off the line to the outside, this one is coming right down the center. And you'll recognize this if you've done the kata heian yondan. This happens right there at the end where we reach and we pull in. Okay, heian yondan is good for using some X block entries into other techniques. Okay, so it's just no different here. I start coming in for this X block entry and then I reach up. So it's like somebody is reaching out both hands to get me or choke me or whatever else might be going on. I'm reaching in here, getting into my clinch and striking my knee strike. So we're going to step forward. Our hands are coming up the center and reach. Then as I pull in, I do the knee strike. Now, we're not pulling in and slapping our knee. I am pulling their body into me with a good clinch, knee strike, and stepping down. Okay? If we had the big mats out, we'd talk about where that could be a throw. So that's something you don't want to miss in the application video coming out after you watch this one. Is where you can use that head control with a good clinch for a takedown. So make sure you check that out. So let's do this one. Forward step, grab, knee, and stepping back to your stance. Okay, so step forward, grip, knee, and just replant that leg. Here we go. Ready? And 1. Step forward, reach, knee, step back, and then come back here. And 2. Reach and grab, pull to the knee, step back, and release. 3. Step, reach, knee, step back, release. 4. Reach, kick, back, and release. All right, let's add one last thing as we finish this set out, and that is a downward elbow strike. So I'm reaching up, I'm getting my clinch, and I'm pulling them in, doing the knee. As I step back, that lead hand is raising up and striking down on the back of their head. Okay? So again, I'll step one side, reach, grab into that clinch, pulling them in tight for the knee, and then as I step back, my lead hand comes up and strikes down the back of the head. We're avoiding the bony part of the skull, okay? So we're coming in below that bump, that occipital bone, just there at the base of the skull, base of the spine, or even a little bit lower. That's your target, is right in there. Hit the bony part, it's not going to go so well for your elbow. Okay? So finish this out. 5, reach, grab, knee, step back, elbow down. 6, reach and grab, knee, and elbow down. 7, reach, knee, elbow. 8, reach, knee, elbow, coming down. All right, your best ones on this one, break it down as much as you need to. But again, we're working towards fluidity, so give it your best shot. Ready? And 9. And 10. Good. All right, so let's change modes here, get into our stretches and cool down, and we'll close out the video. But as always, we're only coming to the second half of your workout, because you should be moving off after the stretches into your kata, into your fighting sets. Okay, so let's start off with our stretches. Feet are underneath our shoulders, and over and hang. You want it tight along the backs of the legs. You don't want to bend in those knees because the goal is not to get low. The goal is to stretch. The more you stretch, the lower you can get. But we don't want to cheat it. Otherwise, we're never going to accomplish the goal of the stretch here, which is to become more flexible. And nice and easy back up. Feet apart just a little bit. Okay. And straight down. Center. And take it to your left side and pull. Really feel that stretch. Again, straight knee. Don't let it bend here. And go to the other side. Keep it low. Grab and pull. Pull down into that stretch. And again, straight knee here. You bend that knee, you take all the stretch out of this, and then you're just kind of crouching over, maybe looking a little silly. Come back to the center and straighten up. All right. We're going to step our feet out a little bit wider. So it'll be about horse stance distance here. And we're going to squat it down, elbows inside for our sumo stretch. All right, and rock those legs side to side. And bend that right knee, bring it all the way down to that right side. Try to keep that leg all the way out there straight, and the foot all the way flat on the ground as much as you can. Okay? If the pinky side of the foot does not sit down, that's okay. But we're trying to avoid letting the toes come all the way up. Keep those big toes down, heel to toe there. All right, keep it low. Transition to the other side. Okay. Feeling the stretch on the inside of the thigh here. Toes down, heels down. As much contact with the foot as you can do. All right. If that's not stretching too much, use that sumo stretch to push that thigh outwards and point the knee out just a little bit more. Okay? All right. And come back up. Keep it low. And legs out as wide as you can go. And forward. Take it easy. And back. Easy. And forward. And back. And have a seat. And legs are out wide. Wide being a relative term. Okay. So reaching forward down the center. Trying to reach out as far as you can reach with those hands. Again, we're going to be feeling the stretch along the insides of our legs with this one. And reach both hands over to your left side. And over to the right side. Good, and bring those legs in. Feet together. All right. You feel the need to bounce your knees, you can do that, but just don't go too hard with this. We're not going for a ballistic stretch, but we're trying to flap our way into flight with our knees here. Just enough to kind of wake up those muscles if you need to and work into the next stretch. So I grab my ankles and I push down with my elbows. Some people can work just fine, just simply pushing. I like that extra leverage. Okay? So pushing those knees down towards the ground, opening up the hips here. Good. Relax it. And again, if you need to, just a little bit of a bounce. Nothing that's pushing the stretch. You're not stretching with this bounce. You're just relaxing the muscles here. Okay? And grab your toes. Last one. Pull your nose down to your toes. Try to put your nose on your toes, not just your forehead, because we don't want to crunch our body down too tight. And the goal is to stretch the hips here. And relax. All right, come on back up. All right, so that's the end of the video. Make sure you're going and finding your kata. Work on the stuff that you know already. Everything that you've learned so far, okay, including what you're working on for your next rank. All right, we especially want to be working on our focus kata. The beginner focus for this month is what, Aylin? Taikyoku Shodan. And our intermediate focus for this month is Heian Yondan. All right, and the advanced focus for this month is Jion. Okay, if you don't know one of those kata yet, you haven't learned it yet, don't worry about it. Focus on the ones that you do know, the ones that you have learned so far. If you need a little help remembering one that you've seen before, that you've learned before, just head over to our website, and we've got a post on there with all of the kata, all of the fighting sets, with videos and PDFs that you can look at to help jog your memory. Okay, those videos can also be found on the Living Sword Martial Arts YouTube page. Remember, we've got an old YouTube, Living Sword Karate, which we set up a while back. As YouTube changed their login procedures, we didn't keep up with the times, and the accounts that are supposed to be associated with it don't have it. So we're transitioning everything over to the Living Sword Martial Arts YouTube page. So all the kata are in both places, so you can go check that out. And don't forget to keep a look in the members only area for those interactive lesson links so that you can join us live and we can give you some feedback on what you're doing. All right, have a good day. Ready? Attention and bow.